We have a clip of Monica Long reacting to Ripple's deal with Hidden Road. You won't want to miss this. She is going to talk about Rust and the connections into this. I also have some information here by Wrath of Cognitive, why this is so important, and what it's going to do for us, you and me, the XRP holder. There's also some information about flare staking that we got to get into, Coinbase derivatives. Is Paris blockchain weak? I'm going to show you what it looks like, where the Ripple stuff is, and a little bit about that as well. So let's go ahead and start here, right? Let's begin. What does this add to the Ripple business? It's all coming together. So we've talked for a long while about institutional decentralized finance. Many of us here talk about institutions coming into the world of blockchain and DeFi, and this is going to blast that into a new milestone, kind of a new stratosphere. So the idea here is the Hidden Road, through its prime broker business, is able to supercharge a lot of what we do. So using Ripple USD, the stable coin, as collateral for all of its prime brokerage services, as well as using XRP Ledger for a lot of its post-trade services. And of course, we've actually known Hidden Road for years. What does this add to the room? Interesting part that she was discussing there towards the end, it sounds like Ripple does plan to use most of these transactions on the XRP Ledger with Rust as the collateral source. As more money comes into Rust, that will eventually have some impact on the XRP's price. Obviously, it's going to take some time. A lot of volume is going to need to come in. You're talking tens of billions of dollars, but it could be coming, right? It does look like we're on our way there. Cause David Schwartz says this: Ripple's acquisition of Hydero is a defining moment for the XRP Ledger and XRP. The prime broker clears upwards of 10 billion in processes, over 50 million transactions a day on various traditional rails, waiting for 24 hours for those transactions to settle. Now imagine even a portion of that activity on the XRP Ledger, and that's exactly what Hidden Road plans on doing. Not to mention future use of collateral for real-world assets and tokenization on the XRP Ledger. Ripple is positioning themselves obviously to be the biggest and best choice in the blockchain game. You're trying to find another company that has such an aggressive marketing campaign or push throughout the globe. I don't know, man. Who is that? Let me know down in the comments who has a better marketing arm than Ripple, because man, it just seems like they are everywhere. Why is Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road so important? We got to discuss this. Why does Ripple want this? And any XRP on the XRP Ledger advocates have been waiting for. Ripple is no longer just building around traditional financial infrastructure. They bought it. Among other things, Hidden Road connects XRP to actual plumbing of global markets. That means Ripple now has direct path to put real institutional volume on the ledger, potentially for the first time at scale. This could be the beginning of the XRP Ledger becoming a true settlement layer in global finance. No, it probably won't affect the price in the short term, right? Of course, you got to build up into this, but this is a huge deal, right? We're always talking about connecting traditional finance and DeFi, and how does that even happen? It looks like these are some of the best steps to take towards that. Obviously, Ripple has been getting their infrastructure on the XRP Ledger ready. When I say I'm talking about there being good stewards of the XRP Ledger, but you have all these different aspects of DeFi that look like CFI. You're talking about treasury bonds, those types of things, right? That's almost a $29 trillion market in the United States. Imagine opening that up and bringing more money through that. Imagining more rails like this opening up and more volume flowing through that. The more we can process on blockchain rails, the more it pushed pressure on everybody else to get on board with what we are doing. It says, what does a prime broker like Hidden Road do in traditional finance? Hedge funds and trading firms don't want to deal with every individual exchange, settle every trade themselves, or hold collateral all over the place. They use a prime broker as a central counterparty that gives them access to markets, handles clearing and settlement, offers leverage, and lets them borrow and lend across venues with unified credit and risk management. Then why does Ripple want this? Ripple wants this because it gives them the architecture they knew. They need to deliver finance using blockchain rails underneath. Hidden Road already supports 300 financial institutions and clears $3 trillion in annual volume. It plugs into exchanges like Coinbase International, OKEx, Deribit, Bitfinex, and Bullish. Is that an exchange? Bullish? Bullish exchange. Maybe I'm just not Bullish exchange. I haven't heard of that exchange. All right, let's keep going. Sidetrack. All right. It's credit and clear platform. Lets clients trade across these exchanges with one credit line and a single settlement partner for Ripple. This opens the door to open the door to get its RLUSD stablecoin and XRP into actual institution flows across multiple trading venues. It also means Ripple can now directly service firms it already works with like B2C2, B2S2, Business2, Customer2, which is a client of both Ripple and Hidden Road. They did participate in HR Series B and have history. It says more importantly, and then it says, and here is the important part. More importantly, Brad is quoted saying that they will use XRP for part of the Hidden Road's post-trade settlement. It's a realization. It's a realization of the promise of the XRP ledger, of the ledger to remove wait, hours or days, to settle across traditional banking systems. Some trades could clear instantly on the XRP ledger. If Ripple can prove that XRP works as a high-volume, low-cost settlement system for real trades and real institutions, it sets a new benchmark for blockchain utility and has the potential to dramatically increase the transactional volume on the ledger and make XRP part of institutional trading and clearing flows. Note that the use of credit is key. Institutional finance runs on leverage and netting, not fully funded accounts. Hidden Road gives Ripple the ability to provide capital-efficient trading, backed by its own balance sheet, especially Rust. It can now be used as collateral across Hidden Road's platform, immediately increasing its utility and its circulation. Instead of being used for payments, Rust can now function as a funding asset, a margin asset, and potentially a settlement layer across crypto and traditional networks. To put simply, this deal gives Ripple the potential place in the traditional finance world. Have a robust stack of plumbing, a regulated trading network, a stablecoin with real utility, a ledger with institutional-grade settlement speed, a way to scale volume on the XRP ledger, a new kind of customer financial institutions and funds that need clearing and credit. If Ripple can connect all of that together, the XRP ledger becomes its end goal of infrastructure. Then maybe they will run a validator. Interesting. Okay, so he's pulling information of all of these places. Okay, you also have some connections here. It does look like this person, Michael Higgins, Global Head of Business Development and Hidden Road, has some back connections to here integrated into Coinbase. So all of this is just kind of, I guess, bullish as an exchange. That's the second time I've seen someone post a bullish. So it does look like it's all interconnected there. You have Matthew Liny Ripple, now with Hidden Road, has as direct access to BlackRock tokenized assets. Here are those assets. So that could be a big deal for Ripple. You also have this person trying to make some points, something out here. So did you say HSBC? So Ripple's new acquisition Hidden Road happens to be a CME Group clearing firm partner. So they're just putting this information in and together. So that could be something else that helps benefit what Ripple's doing. Here is a staking is going to be going live here on Flare, and as well as they are working on staking on Mainnet. But let me go ahead and play this video for we can learn about this, and I can give you the do's and the don'ts of staking, places that I have failed in the past. I will tell you so you don't make the same mistake. What is staking? So for people that they know what is staking, absolutely. Well, look, I think there's a lot of conflation of the term staking in the XRP community with things that are not really staking. So for instance, putting your money into an AM is not staking. It is being a liquidity provider. Putting your money into a thing that calls itself staking, but is actually where they use your XRP to take trades on centralized exchanges is not staking. That is essentially investing in some kind of unregulated fund. And I think there's if I've looked at most of projects, many of them are misusing the term staking.